throughout the entirety of his 17 years in the pro ranks. Now we're going to look at a guy who's a bit of a wild card tonight. Brandon Curry is extremely dangerous. He's ventured out there to now we're going to look at a guy who's a bit of a wild card. Reshaped Brandon Curry is extremely and he is now we're going to look at a guy who's a bit of a wild card. Reshaped Brandon Curry is
Added the Arnold Classic Australia to his already Arnold Classic Brazil. The title, I believe he won over in Canada as well. This is the best Brandon Curry that we've seen on this Olympia stage. Father of 4, married to an IFB Pro Bikini competitor, Brandy Lever. And he spends so many hours and months away from home doing this. This investment is paying off for Brandon Curry.
Well, he's got a bit of a winning streak. He's won his last 2 contests, including the Arnold Australia. And you kind of just summed up his whole story. He's become one of the hottest properties in the business. His story is very reminiscent of the Dexter Jackson story a few years ago when you kind of thought Dexter was done, he thought his best years were behind him. And all of a sudden, he kind of revisited his approach, changed some things up. Now he's back, and Brandon Curry has a chance to really threaten for a top spot in the show.
And his legs were his weak point, and they've actually come up. They haven't caught the upper body, but they have come up.
I was about to say that Brandon Curry has a chance to be this year's William Bonac. Speaking of William Bonac, last year's, really one of the biggest stories of last year's Olympia. He's now has 6 pro wins to his credit. He was 5th here a year ago, kind of snuck up on everybody. But you can be sure, Sean Ray, that he isn't sneaking up on anybody this year. He is a known commodity coming into the 2007.
Yeah, the guys are fully aware of William Bonac. He's got a few pro wins under his belt. Working with Neil Hill, I don't know where he can put any more muscle on his frame. And mind you, Brandon Curry outweighs him by nearly 30 pounds. And this guy looks, you can't put another pound on him. I know that he's, I think, 5 pounds heavier than a year ago. And he's very confident. It's going to be interesting to see the comparisons because by himself, there's nothing more that he can put on his frame.
This is a guy that, as we were talking about Dexter Jackson and Sean Roden and Phil Heath, his name didn't always come up. But I was always quick to remind everyone, William Bonac has all the tools to challenge for this title. And I'll be clear about that. He's got the tools to challenge. His body might not be as pretty as Phil Heath. He might not be able to get as hard as Dexter Jackson. But from shoulder to calf, this guy is extremely impressive.
And he's very strong, representing the Netherlands. Williams, the only knock on William, I think he has to get some more thigh separation in those quadriceps. Sometimes he has a tendency to relax the midsection. He's got a very short Kai Greenis midsection. There's not a lot of space between the pecs and the waistline, which makes him look a little bit boxy at times, but he is the official new giant killer as it relates to the Olympia stage. Big arms, ripped pecs, nice traps. Very well represented tonight.
From the USA, Michael Lockett.
All right, Sean, we're getting a look at Michael Lockett now. This guy has had a very, very busy year. He has competed, and get this, 4 different Arnold Classics this year alone. Won 2 events, one Chicago and Vancouver, and he is now competing here at the Olympia in Las Vegas, where this is a guy who, as he has been coming up, has been celebrated as a very legitimate future threat in this sport. He's got a lot of things going for him.
Well, if he picks the right show. Right now, I think he's got to work on the gyno. He's got a little bit of gyno right there around the nipple, some swelling right there. He's going to have to get that surgically repaired. A lot of bodybuilders have had to experience that. I think his strength right now is his calves and his hamstring, that separation between the leg on the side, but then you turn around and you lose the hamstring. So from the side, it looks a little bit more representative. The back, again, this is a contest where the glutes are shredded and you look there, but when he opens up the back, the detail kind of is not there. That's where he's got to work on. That's been his Achilles heel. He picks the right contest, he can win. This is a contest that definitely he's showing the world that he's one of the best in the world. But what he's got to do to really stand out is he's got to add more sweeps to the quadricep, more meat on the bone in the back area. And I think he's doing very well for what he has to work with.
Michael Lockett gives you a real sense for just how far this whole thing has come. When you start talking about picking apart a physique like this, which is extremely good, and this is a guy who walks out there, and we can pick him apart. And it's amazing because that's how far some of these top-tier guys have become, where a guy like Michael Lockett walks out there, and it's just hard for him to compare at that level.
Absolutely.
Jackson.
All right, well, you are looking at the most decorated bodybuilder in the history of the sport. He has 28 pro wins to his credit, making him the winningest professional bodybuilder of all time. He turns 48 in November. Now, we just talked about Victor Martinez being 10 years removed from nearly winning an Olympia title. Dexter Jackson, incredibly enough, is 9 years removed from being Mr. Olympia, and he is here right now on this stage, not just as a participant, but as a bona fide, legitimate contender for this title here 9 years after he won this thing in 08.
I believe he'll be 48 years old in November. I mean, it's just a number as far as he's concerned. He's a top 6 competitor no matter what happens on this stage. He just has the genetics. You just have it or you don't. I don't see the drop-off. Usually when you get older, you start seeing guys dropping off. Dexter seems to be holding on to that mass, and most of the people, when you get older, you start to lose it in the legs, and the legs are still there for Dexter. They haven't failed him.
He's got that signature, dense, grainy muscle that has become his calling card. It's what sort of has helped earn him the title, the Blade, for his uncanny ability to come in and shape almost every time he walks on stage. All the talk this year, and Dexter was very open about it, was his added size. He was very quick to boast about the added muscle. He had reported getting up to as heavy as, 260 pounds at points throughout this year. Yeah. And the question is, are you seeing that added size translate here tonight?
I'm definitely not seeing a diminished size factor. I'm not sure if he looks that much wow factor big, but he looks like Dexter is a study of consistency. He doesn't change a lot from year to year. I think you hit the point where you know what to expect from Dexter. The calves are never going to be what they should be, but he still finds a way to highlight the traps, highlight the delts, highlight the pecs and the shoulders. He does the best with what he has to work with, better than anybody else, which is why he's still here.
Mad Max Charles.
All right, well, 4 years ago, Max Charles won himself a USA title, of course, the same title held by our reigning champion, Phil Heath. He has now competed for the 4th time this year, so Max Charles has kept busy. One of those events was in Columbus at the Arnold Classic, where he scored a top 3 finish, sort of putting himself on the bodybuilding map.
Yeah, he was actually leading Dallas McCarver right behind Brandon Curry in the Australia show before Dallas had some complications. Max looks tired here. I saw him earlier in the year in the spring. The stomach is just not there. The detail's not there. The quads don't have the separation. He wanted to be in this contest, and sometimes you do it because you love it, but at the same time it doesn't translate physically. And right now what we're seeing is a physique that's a little bit tired. I'm sure Max is looking forward to a nice long off season. He said his preparation started in December, so he's literally been on one since December, and here we are towards the tail end of September.
All right, you're watching Amazon Sports Nutrition's presentation of Joe Weider's Olympia Fitness. And in just a moment, we're going to get a look at your six-time defending reigning champion, Phil Heath. And, of course, all eyes are on Phil as he looks to equal the mark of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger and pick up a seventh Sandow Trophy. Based on the way a few of these guys have come in so far, it's not going to be an easy title for him, but if Phil is able to bring to the stage what we know he can, it almost becomes a foregone conclusion. Having said that, the opportunity to see Dexter Jackson and Sean Roden flanked on either side of Phil is sort of what we're all waiting for. And I got to be honest with you, I think this contest goes beyond those three.
It does. The X Factor is going to be Big Ramy, and of course the Pocket Rocket William Bonek. One of the guys won't be there. Will be Max Charles. Again, he just doesn't have the detail to be competitive, and we've seen him much harder, much more separated, especially in the spring. So Max is going to be along for the ride here tonight. But yeah, all eyes are on Mr. Consistency, and that would be Phil.
And your final competitor. From the USA is your six-time reigning and defending Olympia champion, the Gift, Phil Heath.
Sean, 11 years ago, at your event in Colorado at the Sean Ray Classic, a young man named Phil Heath, who was competing in his hometown that night, made his professional debut. He wowed the crowd. It was a victorious debut. He won a week later in New York, and so began one of the most illustrious careers this sport has ever known. He has since gone on to win the Olympia 6 times. And tonight he's gunning for number 7. He and his trainer, Hani Rambod, have put in the work. They devised a plan. So I'm going to let you, Sean Ray, be the first here in 2017 to assist.
Fourth place, worked his way up to first runner-up behind Jay Cutler, and ultimately grabbed the title. And here he is. And so far, I got no complaints. And again, from the back, this is where these shows are won and lost. Those hamstrings, that back, I haven't seen anybody matching him in this.
It really is a winning formula. It's just a level of dimension that most guys just really in the history of the sport haven't been able to bring to the stage. It is eye-popping. He knows what he's here to do. This is very much a workmanlike business trip for Phil Heath. He's here to continue his reign atop the sport. But make no mistake about it, each year it's a different look for Phil.
Olympia champion, Phil Heath.
All right, we're going to go ahead and throw it to Carla Sanchez, who's with our classic physique champion backstage.
All 18 of our individual